Hello, everyone, and welcome to another action-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, Dave and TJ. Today, we're going to be talking to you about this week's episode of Dynamite, which happened last night, May 29th of 2025, and we'll have a little bit of the news. As usual, follow us on all of our socials at OvermarkENT. Don't forget to like and subscribe our videos. We're trying to hulk that up a little bit if we can, and we're going to jump right into it. We got a AEW Dynamite from May 28th of 2025. I think I said 29 earlier. Today is the 29th. That was an oops. Anyway, they had an attendance of 3,611 with a setup of 3,856 with 245 available tickets. On commentary, they noted that it was a near sellout, so that's probably pretty close.
So,
And what's up?
I'm not saying WWE doesn't do this, so if anybody wants to hit me with that, I already got that out of the way. But I heard that they were doing like a 3-for-1 and a whole bunch of other shit like that to get this placed even to that. So take that for what it is. That's just a rumor. It's could be real or not, but I was reading a lot of that. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I missed it, but I didn't look at a lot of. I didn't do very deep dives into the news this week as much as I normally would. I've been a little tired.
Yeah, I wasn't deep diving on it. I'm just reading a lot of places where people say random shit, and that was one of the things that I saw pop up a couple times.
Well, we did see that they were paying people to attend, in Albuquerque. So, but anyway, viewership's up this week. They had 636K viewers. They were up 61K from last week. They had 0.16 in the 18 to 49 on the Nielsen. So they're doing a little better. You would think that the one going into the pay-per-view would be up, and then but the post one's going to be up too because people want to know what's going on. And we'll jump right into it. We got a segment with Hangman Adam Page. He's going to do an in-ring promo, and it's kind of long. There were some verging on too long of promos this show, probably, and this is one of them. Hangman enters to a pretty decent crowd reaction. He's pretty over with the AEW crowd. He's wearing his AEW or Owen Hart tournament belt. Shivani praises Page's tournament win at Double or Nothing before handing over the mic. The crowd's chanting, "You deserve it," at him. He reflects on the fleeting nature of triumph and struggles of the past 2 to 3 years. It's not about the win or the loss. It's about what you do with it. He thanks Will Ospreay for giving him the fight of his life. Notes the bittersweet feeling of victory since he won't be defending the tournament title. Declares that he is returning the Owen Hart title to the people. Announces his next goal is the AEW World Championship. It is the responsibility he chased from the very moment he returned to the company. He says that the AEW World Title has been hidden away in a briefcase for the last 7 months and should represent the spirit of competition. He reminds fans that the people would be his boss and makes a bold promise that in 7 weeks, he will become the AEW World Champion at All In Texas. It's an okay promo so far. What do you think of what's going on here? It's a long promo, so it's kind of broken down into parts here.
Well, I don't know. I'm never going into this stuff with Adam Page with high hopes. And me and you aren't both the biggest fans of this, but I mean, it wasn't terrible for what it was. It just it's strange always getting fucking yelled at, like that's how he emotes, is just like screaming at people, and the shit that he says just feels super rehearsed. Like at least with Will Ospreay, I get the feeling that it's like natural and he believes it, whereas Adam Page, I've just never really been a fan of his delivery. But I know that the people are into it that are watching the show and going to the event, so I mean, good for them, for the guy that they're into winning, and the live crowd usually seems to react pretty good to him. But I don't know. I remember that first title run that he had, and it's just this doesn't inspire too much confidence from me. But overall, I don't think it was a bad segment at all so far.
Yeah. Why don't you take us into the next part?
Well, Swerve Strickland came in, and him and Prince Nana entered. Swerve had a mic. Swerve acknowledges Page's win, but brings up a serious issue. He shows a clip of the Young Bucks saying that they cost Swerve the world title at Dynasty to help Hangman. They accused Page of benefiting from the collusion with the Bucks, and he said he conveniently had a clear path to the title off of his loss, and he reminds Page of his past promise not to interfere in Swerve's business. And he was all like, "Tell me right now, did you do this?" It's basically the Bucks. Who knows? They probably did that to cause a problem between them. I doubt he was working with them, and if that's like the end goal, man, that's going to be a terrible build up or payoff, right?
Yeah, I really hope that that's not a thing, because well, at least we could get all the shit that we don't want to see out of the way in one segment. Hopefully, then.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It'll last the whole fucking show somehow then. But Adam Page responded after that, saying that he admits that he considered helping during the match. Looked at both Swerve and Moxley. If I wanted to cost you the title, I would have done it. Besides, I've done it before. Tension builds between the two, but Hangman stands firm in his defense. Then Will Ospreay comes in, and he arrives to a big reaction. He's always been over. He tells Swerve that he looks up to him like a big brother, but insists he's wrong about Hangman. Praises Hangman for the respect he showed at Double or Nothing. He looked in Hangman's eyes and saw Adam cares about this place. Also credits Swerve as someone who made the people believe in AEW again. Declares it's not him and it's not Ospreay, but it's Page. Proposes working together to get AEW World Title back. Saying, let's try to make it as easy on him as we can. And then he says that he'll never help Hangman win. And then Hangman said that he never would want his help afterwards. But you know what that means, right? That at All In Texas... No, at All In, he's not going to help him the whole time. And then he's going to actually fight with Adam Page and shit into the build-up and maybe fuck him over a couple times. But in the end, he's going to come out there, and it's going to look like he's going to fuck over Hangman, and he's going to help him out. And that's going to be the big payoff. Right?
100% is what's going to happen.
And, whatever. We've been watching wrestling for a long time. I'd be surprised if that wasn't the thing that was going to happen there, but excuse me, that I thought this segment was pretty good. I liked it. It had 3 big players on the show, which is something that you usually don't get in doses like that. I'm not going to complain at all. This is probably one of the highlights here, but it was a little long, like you said, but overall not bad.
Yeah, well, not crazy about Hangman, but this is one of the better promos of his that he has done probably. And it'll be nice to see the payoff.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, at least they are, one of the things that we're always critical with them about is their long-term story building, and at least there is that here, So at least it sounds like even if they're not hearing our criticism, they're hearing criticism of other people saying that same stuff. So, yeah. And anyway, we'll want to move on to the next thing, or do you have anything else about that?
No, we covered it pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a match with the Death Riders and Gabe Kidd versus Willow Nightingale, Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. We cut to the outside of the arena as the Death Riders and Gabe Kidd make their intense entrances. Can these guys ever show up to the arena on time? It feels like every time that we're seeing them, they're.
Is it a Silverado that they're coming in? A white one? I don't know. It may not be a Silverado, but it's a fucking pickup. But it's like a short cab or whatever, or short bed. So it's like it barely fits any of them in it. They're all like, I don't know. It's just not really a flex. I know you motherfuckers make a lot of money. Where's the nice truck? But sorry,
go
ahead.
No, that's. So the camera returns to the ringside, and Willow, Mike, and Mark enter to a strong reception from the crowd. The mixed trios match gets underway quickly.
Hold on, before
Briscoe and Kidd. What's up?
Sorry, I know I keep interrupting you. Did you see Moxley walk in the wrong way? I guess he was cut off, and when he walked into the building or whatever, into the arena, he went left, and it was the wrong way, and then he turns around, and then starts going the right direction after that. It was pretty funny.
No, I didn't notice, but that's hilarious. That's a typical Moxley move. But anyway, Briscoe and Kidd open the match, exchanging strikes before chaos erupts and all 6 folks are brawling. Bailey targets Moxley at ringside while Shafir eats a boot from Willow. Back in the ring, Briscoe uses the chair handed in by Bailey for a triple jump dive, firing up the crowd. Back from break, Moxley, now legal, versus Briscoe, dominates and tags in Shafir, who lays in strikes. Kidd comes in with heavy shots before Mox returns, but Briscoe rallies and tags in Speedball. Bailey hits a missile drop kick off the top, followed by a running shooting star press for a near fall. After a sequence, Bailey scores a thrust kick before Willow and Shafir tag in. Willow dominates with a spine buster. Her spine busters are pretty nice. And a high stack near fall, broken up by Moxley. Briscoe intercepts Mox. Bailey keeps Moxley occupied, and Shafir tries to recover, but Willow plants her again. We get some outside interference. Bailey and Mox back in, but Wheeler Yuta interferes. Kidd capitalizes and drops Bailey through the timekeeper's table. We get heading into final stretch of the match. Back from break, Moxley and Kidd try to wear down Bailey, but he fights back. Tag to Briscoe, who sends Mox out and goes strike for strike with Kidd. Kidd bites Briscoe, fucking biting him, and lands more shots, but Briscoe suplexes him out of the ring. Speedball hits a dive onto Kidd and Mox. Kidd is dragged back in. Shafir and Yuta try to interfere, but are neutralized. Briscoe hits a froggy bow for a near fall. Claudio attempts to interfere. Commander takes him out with a rope walk dive. Back inside, Mox tags in, hits a paradigm shift and a bulldog choke on Briscoe. Shafir restrains Willow. Kidd controls Bailey. Briscoe passes out in the choke. The referee calls it. The winners via submission are the Death Riders, and they celebrate to heavy boos from the crowd. And it was an all right match. It's a typical Death Riders match. I don't need to see Mike Bailey. I don't care about Gabe Kidd. Shout out to Willow and Mark Briscoe for being the shining points in this match. What did you think of all of this match, TJ?
I don't know. Apparently not much, because I remember watching the match and talking about it with my wife as it happened, and because Wheeler did some weird shit at one point. But this whole thing makes me realize another thing. I think I'm blurring out the announcers' voices in these matches. I'm nothing that they're saying is kind of sinking into my brain, because they're just not very good at what they do, and it's a really big shame, because they could really be highlighting and making these matches somewhat better than they are, and it doesn't seem like any of them are capable of doing that, and it doesn't seem like really they have any chemistry either. But how could you have chemistry when you just have some fucking goofball sitting there shouting out every fucking move that happens in it's long form, But beyond that, I really don't know, man. I guess it was an okay match, but overall it's just more of the same stuff in the middle of a show that has a lot of this shit, and the people that are doing it aren't very good at doing it. I mean, not to say that everybody in this match isn't good at these kind of matches. Willow's pretty good. John Moxley can do this kind of stuff, but overall, besides that, there's not a lot of highlights to be had here.
Yep. If we could cut this match if we were cutting matches.
Well,
that's not a thing for the TV show.
They can't cut anything, because I feel like they have a little bit of trouble filming 4 hours of TV time.
Which is weird, because they have almost 200 wrestlers under contract. How you would have a hard time filling TV time with that many people, I don't know.
I mean, I see improvements on the show in certain ways, and I think tonight the 2 promo segments kind of highlighted that they are kind of trying to shift into making these moments feel important and big, because overall it's the moments that last, not necessarily the matches. And somebody's definitely, I think, been helping Tony refine the show a little bit, but overall it's a lot of classic stuff with AEW, where they seem to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back, or they just go back to what they were doing a month prior. But I don't know, that's probably about it on that subject there.
Yeah. Why don't you take us into the next bit? We got quite a bit of backstage segments before the next match for some reason.
Well, this is more the same of what we were talking about. Like, this is probably one of the more promo heavy shows that I think they've ever had with backstage segments. But overall, they did just get off a pay-per-view, so they're just resetting everything and putting everything forward to the next pay-per-view. But the next one was, sorry if you hear any noise, my dog here's sitting here eating, and he's a goofball. It's like he likes this stuff to be right by me when he eats. But anyways, we got a Hurt Syndicate promo here. A video package recaps the Hurt Syndicate's successful defending of the AEW Tag Team Championships. They got a celebratory mood as MJF officially aligns with the faction. MJF says that he's aiming to reclaim the AEW World Championship, now backed by Serious Power. It's not personal, it's just business. That's the little catchphrase. But the faction appears unified and dangerous, solidifying their place atop AEW. This is good. They're just kind of highlighting, that they're going to be like some of the big players on the show. And I bet you after this whole Moxley thing's done, which is probably going to be here at All In, the new big bad faction will be those guys. What do you think about that?
It was a pretty good segment. I enjoyed this video package. It's good to see them doing good stuff with these guys. All four of these guys are very talented. So you hate to see them go to waste. It's good that they're using them right.
Yeah. And they had another segment here with the women's no DQ tag match tease. It was a brief promo clips from Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, focused and ready for war. They will face Anna Jay and Harley Cameron in a no disqualification tag match coming up next. So they're trying to like build a little tension between them. The no DQ match, which fucking ridiculous. That was one hell of a match. In maybe some not so good ways. But not much to say there, right? So then they have another backstage interview with Ricochet, and me and Dave have been complimenting him. I think he's one of the highlights of the show with everything he does. It's not saying that he's like the best ever by any means, but I think he's an overall pretty solid package of a entertaining guy. But he discusses his arrival and post Double or Nothing impressions, notes that the faction heavy landscape in AEW, says he's on the hunt for the perfect crew to back him up, and once I find them, I'll show why Ricochet is out of this world. And he does a stupid little laugh. He hints at a faction debut or alliance coming soon, which who knows who the fuck that'll be, right? But I'm sure you don't have too much to add there, right? Just more of his typical stuff.
I'm cautiously optimistic at what he could be talking about in terms of a group. There are some cool options out there, so hopefully they do something good with this.
Yeah,
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. No, not him. Oh God.
And then what's his face? Hornswoggle. Maybe that'd be nice. Great Khali.
Maybe. Yeah.
Wow.
He could still walk.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, after all that happened, we get a match with Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. And this is a missed opportunity here. The match takes place in Texas, yet is not promoted as a Texas Tornado match, despite being a no disqualification tag team match.
Yeah, I mean, remember me sending you that last night? I was like, wait. I mean, that's typically what this would be. And like, anytime we grew up, that's what this kind of match was.
Especially in Texas, it was just an easy way to promote it and get people more hyped about it, because they're like, the people in the crowd are like, "Oh, they're saying Texas."
Dave, for a show that you're having in fucking Texas as your next pay-per-view, how do you not do that?
I don't know. Nobody thought about it, I guess.
That's
but yeah,
wild.
I made sure to when you sent me that, I was like, "Got to make sure to include that."
Yeah.
So yeah, see, we're always thinking about ways or things to put onto here. Never ends. Anyway, so the match starts. Penelope Ford sends Anna Jay into the barricade. Harley Cameron dodges charging Megan Bayne in the corner. Jay and Cameron hit a double team pin on Ford before Bayne breaks it up. Anna tries to use a weapon on Bayne, but it's ineffective. Bayne drops both opponents with a double takedown. Bayne sets up a chair, but gets sent face first into it by Harley, followed by a drop kick from Anna for a 2 count. Ford breaks it up. We get a back from the commercials, Bane and Cameron fight on the apron. Cameron slips through and positions Bane, who is powerbombed through a table on the outside with help from a chair shot from Anna Jay. They did a chair shot to the head here as the gal was standing up on the ring apron, and then she got powerbombed through the table. I mean, she got her hand up, but it's still a chair head shot, and this is just one of many things that happened in this match that probably shouldn't, and yeah. So in the ring, Ford and Jay battle, both end up down. Bane recovers, and she does this move where she slams Harley Cameron face first into the ring steps, and it fucked her up. It probably broke her nose. She was bleeding all over the place. The medic run in and was checking on her, and to her credit, she played it tough and was like pushing the guy away and throwing the towel back at him and shit that he was trying to clean up her bloody face with. So, props to Harley for hanging in there and playing tough. Yeah. And then after all that, she gets knocked back down by Ford. And then we're running into the final stretch of the match here. Jay hits a gory bomb onto a chair and covers Bane, but Bane breaks it up. Bane delivers the Faith's Descent onto the chair with Anna and goes for the cover, but Harley breaks it up again. It looked like at this point that Anna Jay got dropped face first legitimately onto the chair, and we don't see her for the rest of the match. And when we do see her, she's getting helped to the back by the medical guy. So we got two ladies definitely injured in this match, and a third that took a chair shot to the head. So anyway, Bane levels Harley with a lariat, and she kicks out at 2. The crowd chants Harley, Harley. Anna Jay is being helped to the back by the medical staff, like I said. And they finish off Harley with a Doomsday device. Everybody knows the Legion of Doom finishing move. Fucking Penelope Ford whiffs the clothesline, and it looks like she doesn't even touch her at all. And they get a pinfall victory. Post-match, they inflict a little bit more damage on Harley before celebrating in the ring, which she already broke her fucking nose probably. I don't know why you guys can't just... But anyway, that happened. A lot of reckless bullshit in this match, and two people that are super over, potentially hurt. Just garbage match that didn't really need to happen. They could have just done a regular tag team match. Why they're doing a no DQ blow off style match on a every Wednesday show instead of a pay-per-view, I don't know. What did you think of this, TJ?
I don't know. It's kind of tough to comment on the match a little bit because it's just, none of these girls, I guess, really know how to have a match like this. Almost everybody got hurt, and it's just kind of a slop fest. You're just watching it, and it was kind of like a fucking train wreck. I saw people saying it was like the worst match ever, and it's not even close to that. But yeah, it's just
no, it's not even the worst AEW match ever.
But you should be highlighting the people's strength, and hiding their weaknesses, and that wasn't doing any of this. It's just, this isn't anything that any of these girls know how to do, and they shouldn't have let them do it. And they went out there, and this is the kind of stuff that makes gives AEW the reputation it does have with some of these kind of shittier matches, and it doesn't reflect the overall match quality. But you're only as strong as your weakest link, and this was that weakest link of the show, and it's just you don't want to do this. And if you wanted to showcase Harley or fucking Bane, there's other ways to do it without going out there and having a pointless match for pretty much no reason. Nobody came out of the other end of this better. Nobody's more over. Nobody has even any more heat. Just a match happened with some high spots, and that's literally it. Right?
Yep. That's it was a match, and they
we got another match here afterwards.
Yeah.
It was
the squash match.
Yeah, the Ops versus Frat House. Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, and Cole Carter. I guess this is like a group that they just kind of formed or something on ROH. Apparently,
Hodgepodge of dudes. Fuck.
Apparently, they said something on commentary, but like I said, I completely space those guys out. But they come out, do the little intro, and like say some shit on the mic, and then Joe reaches his limit and tosses Jamison out of the ring. Joe then focuses on Preston Vance as chaos erupts ringside. Tag to Griff Garrison, met immediately by a tag to Shibata. Shibata unloads stiff chops on a Garrison, who tries to fight back and gets overwhelmed. Garrison tags out to Cole Carter, but Powerhouse Hobbs tags in as well. Hobbs takes over, crushing Carter with power offense. Big corner beatdown, followed by a vicious lariat from Hobbs. Carter rolls out as the frat house tries to regroup. The finish saw Vance attacking Joe on the floor. Jamison grabs a paddleboard and tries to hit Hobbs with it, and then it backfires horribly as the Ops dominate the remainder of the match. Hobbs secures a pinfall victory for the team. So, just a little, somewhat pretty much a squash match. And man, that gimmick, the frat, it was just reminding me of WWE, like Vince McMahon stuff.
Yeah, it's not good. I can't remember, and maybe I haven't been paying enough attention to AEW or Ring of. I don't pay any attention to Ring of Honor, but I feel like we haven't seen Griff Garrison since the Brian Pillman Jr. days.
And that Preston Vance guy, I could be confusing it, but there was a group of two guys that, two white guys that were like super pale, had tattoos and shit on their face, I think. And they were like teamed up with Swerve for a little bit. And then it's like, I think they both got hurt or something. And I don't know, maybe that's what they did. But either way, he's just some guy that they were using and tossed him into this, just like all the other guys. But I don't know.
Wasn't he in the, what's that one group with the hand thing with like Evil Uno and shit?
Maybe, actually. Was it? I think so. Was he 10?
Yeah, he was 10.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, I think you're right there. So, man, that sucks for him.
Yeah. He could have just stayed with them. I don't know. Maybe he's probably better off without him. Who knows? Fucking. What do they even do with those guys? Aren't they just like a job group now?
I don't know, but this goes to show you just they do these things, have these guys win. Like, I'm talking about the belts with the trios titles here. Don't have any plans for them, and they're going to try to come up with something. And it's this. I'm sure they'll have some 2-week build thing for the trios guys on their biggest show of the year here in 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
You want to jump to the Renee Paquette interview with Jamie Hayter?
Oh boy. Exciting stuff. We get Renee Paquette welcoming Jamie Hayter to the ring for her first comments since Double or Nothing. Renee asks if Jamie has had time to process what happened on Sunday, and then the lights go out suddenly. And when they turn back on, Thekla, I think that's how we say her name. I can't fucking remember, but I think that's
the
how
lights
they
didn't
said it.
turn
She
back on
attacks.
suddenly. It was black for a while.
Yeah, it was a good like 20 seconds probably. But she had time to slow walk down to the ring and get in there and have the lights turn on, I think. But anyway, that happens, and she attacks Hayter from behind. She hits her with some kind of elbow thing and leaves Hayter laid out on the mat, and she stares directly into the camera. She does like a little backbend Bray Wyatt crab walk thing for a minute there, and she was impressive, for whatever that's worth. Commentary notes that she was, and I'm using air quotes here, fired after more air quotes attacking Stardom president Taro Okada. Is that Okada? Probably Okada. Hayter is forced to retreat up as the segment ends abruptly. And I never heard of this gal before. Probably, I assume that she signed to AEW, so now we'll be seeing her more often. She looked kind of impressive. I don't know. It was hard to gauge what she actually can do off of that little bit. But, it was a thing. What did you think when you saw all this?
I thought it was Dennis at first, and then I took a second look, and it turns out I had no clue who it was. It was some chick from Stardom, and I saw that I saw like a couple weeks ago that people were actually saying that like her Stardom thing ran out, her contract, and that she was probably coming to AEW, and that turned out to be the case. But I don't watch Stardom, so I'm not familiar with this person's body of work. And there's some people that are excited, and I had other people say like, oh, I not me personally, but I saw like, oh, well, why don't you Google or YouTube them? And it's Like, I don't know. I don't think they had to do that back in the day to effectively, tell a story on a show that you're watching. I've never had a show in my life where I have to Google or YouTube who a character is, and this is a show, believe it or not. But hopefully she does some good stuff, and if history's anything to go by, she won't. But I'll be optimistic, and I'm not into the crab walk. And again, I feel like it might have been maybe a little bit better to do the thing where you show like her mark and to do some little like vignettes or something. Maybe not even showing her, just like her symbol that lasts like 10 seconds and hype it, and then it happens, and that way you at least got something. But it's like
everyone's like, "Oh, what was that? What's coming?" Yeah.
But yeah, that shit went over like a wet fart, man. It wasn't very good. But I'll be optimistic, and hopefully they surprise me. But I mean, like I said, there's by history, there's not much to be optimistic about, right?
Right.
Moving on.
That was a segment, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what happened next?
The
Good sir.
TNT Championship match with Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher. They both come out. Adam Cole does his entrance. The crowd gets into it. Kyle Fletcher looks like he's about 2 to 3 times his size. He comes out aggressive, cornering Adam Cole early before the ref separates him. Fletcher mocks Cole, but the champ fires back with quick offensive flurry. Kyle regains control with a body slam, but Cole responds with a big kick and a corner stomp. More than one, actually. Fletcher dodges one kick, only to eat a kick to the face that sends him to the outside. Then RPG Vice attempts to interfere, but Paragon intercepts and sends them away. Cole tries to capitalize, but Fletcher drops him with a powerbomb on the apron, shifting momentum. After that, we get some back and forth action. Fletcher focuses on Cole's arm, grinding him down. Cole rallies with a super kick, and both men trade strikes in the center of the ring. Cole lands offense and gets a 2-count pin attempt. Fletcher counters with a Panama Sunrise and nearly gets the win himself there. Cole hits a half-and-half suplex and lands a successful Panama Sunrise, then sets up for the boom, but Josh Alexander runs in and attacks Cole, causing the referee to call for the bell. So it's a winner by DQ, Adam Cole, still champion. Post-match beatdown by Alexander and Fletcher. On the champ, Brody King storms down with a chair, chasing off the attackers. Commentary reminds us that Brody King versus Josh Alexander is scheduled next, and we head to break, which is fucking awesome, man, because like if there's a match that I was looking forward to, that it was Brody King and Josh Alexander, right? I mean, there's no way that Josh Alexander is gonna lose this match, thinking that he's the new guy coming in, and they want him to have some momentum, and he just had that squash match against the guy the other day. I mean, there's no way he could lose, right?
Yeah, and I feel like these matches happened in the wrong order. Like probably the Adam Cole match should have been the main event, and then the Brody King Josh Alexander should have not been.
These tournaments,
maybe I'm stupid.
In his eyes, are always the big draw. They're the thing that he wants to be up at the top. So, it could be that Skywolf guy that wrestled against Cody 4 years ago, against Chuck E. Cheese, the Karate Kid or whatever, Bailey. And they'd make that the main event. Like what was it last week? Was it Julia?
I don't even remember.
Julia versus Sky Blue, or was that Collision?
No, that was man, I can't remember which one that was. I think that was Dynamite, maybe.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They'll put on what the fuck ever. But anyways, did you want to take us into this? Or never mind.
Oh boy,
did you tell us what you thought about that last match?
I did.
Okay. Man, this tells you I can't.
It was so bad that we both blanked out on it.
Yeah, we do that a lot sometimes, but it just, I don't know. I wouldn't even say it was that bad. It was just like forgettable, and at least maybe maybe they're having Kyle Fletcher do something with Adam Cole, and that would be nice. But I think that's going to be the last that we see these two guys interact, and they're going to have somebody else from the Don Callis family try to get him now, and then somebody else. But it would be nice to see Kyle Fletcher get a little bit of success. They have built some guys for the level of AEW that you could consider stars, like Swerve, but you need to give some other guys a shot. You've been around for it's going to be 6 years now here soon, and people want to act like that's not a long time. That's a fucking long time. and it's time to give some other guys a shot. But take us on to
One
this.
last thing about this match, though,
Okay.
is I expected more out of it because
Yeah.
of the two guys that were in it. Maybe we got to lower our expectations. But anyway, on to the next match. We got the AEW International Championship #1 Contenders Tournament of Brody King versus Josh Alexander. That's real exciting stuff. So security clears ringside, allowing for the match to begin without chaos. The winner advances to the International Championship 4-way at Fyter Fest. I didn't even know that was a thing before watching the show. Here we are. Brody King and Josh Alexander trade brutal strikes to kick things off. The King grabs a shirt and blinds Josh. What? And then follows up with repeated chest clubbing forearms. I was reading that wrong. Brody sets up Josh against the ring post for a chop. Josh dodges and goes after the injured hand. We get some brawling on the outside. Alexander resets the count and drags King to the barricade. Brody fires back with a thunderous chop, flooring Josh. These chops did sound like they hurt a bit. Josh evades a dive and then hits a DDT on the apron, followed by a body block that sends King outside. Alexander keeps the pressure on, slamming King into the ring steps before we take a break. Then we come back, and Alexander is working a grounded armbar on Brody. Brody powers out and lands a German suplex and huge lariat. Both men are down. After beating the 10 count, King sets Josh in the corner, exposing the turnbuckle. Josh counters and slams Brody's arm into the steel, then connects with a German suplex onto the apron. We're getting close to the end here. Alexander sets King up on a chair, but Brody charges through him. King brings him back inside and misses a cannonballer. A lot of fighting outside this match, allowing Josh to lock in an ankle lock. King kicks him off, only to be dropped again. Alexander goes for a bridging German, but only scores a 2 count. With blood visible, Josh climbs for a high-risk move. King counters with knees, then hits a lariat Ganzo bomb combo. The winner via pinfall, advancing to Fyter Fest, is Brody King. He favors his right arm, raising the left for victory. He celebrates ringside and with fans, and Alexander stays behind, recovering from the match. It was an okay match. I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this. I could kind of do without seeing either one of these guys. No offense to either one of them. What do you think about this match, TJ?
Like in the height of wrestling popularity, they would, even today, WWE does this, and I don't watch NJPW, but I know they do it too. But they hype the main event of the show, and the main event is against the biggest guys. You build it as the show goes on. I don't feel like they barely hype this thing, and how could you hype a match like this? And who gives a fuck if it's for some fucking title that nobody really cares about and that's barely defended? Like, it's cool that Kenny has it, and I'm sure the match that will happen is good in the end. But if there's a tournament every fucking week, and there's just for all these random belts, and it's like, international, TNT, Continental. Then they got the world one. There's 4 men's championships, and then they occasionally bring the ROH one over. We've talked about this shit before, but I don't know. It's just not really too much to say about any of that. Beyond what I just said. It just Josh Alexander's already, I feel like, proven a goof. Don Callis is good. I like most people that go with him, but for some reason, nothing about this guy sticks out. And Brody King's been there for a while, and I don't want to shit on him too much. I guess he's good for what he does, but they don't have anything good for him to do, and that's not his fault. And maybe if they did, there would be a world where I would like him. But it's just if they kept having Goku get his ass whipped every fucking week, you give up on him eventually too, right?
Oh yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on to. I'll lead us into this, but it was the no, we had a little interview with Kyle Fletcher here before we jump into that, and then I forgot about this. So Kyle Fletcher vents his frustration over the Josh Alexander interference, which cost him the TNT title. He had some weird bottle in his hand or something. I forget. I'm not sure what it was. I thought it was like one of those bug juices that the kids used to drink all the time back in the day at first. But as he was talking, Adam Cole ambushes from behind, and the two brawl until security steps in to separate them. Cole shouts, "You're a dead man. I'll kill you." So hopefully seeing that they will have a program together, and it will be cool if it actually lasted for a little while and you got to see both of these guys more regularly on TV. And so far, Adam Cole's run hasn't been great, but maybe he was hurt, and they just, they did have him doing a lot of commentary, so at least they were keeping him on TV. But
it's true.
I don't know, not much to really say here, right?
Nice to see him trying to build a story, beyond just throwing guys together for matches.
Yeah, I agree, and both guys are good, pretty decent. So nothing bad to say there. And then we got this Mercedes Moné segment here. Addresses El Paso.
Yeah, that's where they were.
Oh, it was.
El Paso, Texas. Yeah,
I thought
that's why
I thought they were somewhere else. But
remember earlier when we talked. Maybe in just a different part of Texas. Yeah.
But back at ringside, Mercedes. I knew they were in Texas. Just I thought they were somewhere else in Texas, not El Paso.
Makes me want tacos.
Same here. Back at ringside, Mercedes Moné enters flaunting her championships, including the 2025 Women's Owen World Cup. She shows off the Owen Hart Cup trophy and begins addressing the crowd, pays tribute to Owen Hart and Eddie Guerrero, but says they don't compare to the CEO. They got a big pot for the Eddie Guerrero mention from his hometown. Toni Storm interrupts. Toni Storm arrives with the AEW Women's World Championship in hand. Mercedes claims that the crowd is tired of the black and white and wants a champion with color. Toni replies, "Hello, I've been waiting a long time to meet you." She brings up Moné debuting on a Tony name show, staying undefeated and wanting this match most. So what took you so long? Mercedes responds, "Patience, darling. I'm the Beyonce of women's wrestling. I've been waiting for a reason." That line fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
She might like it, but I'm not sure it really going to resonate with a lot of people that are watching the show. So they keep going with their promo here. Storm fires back. "I'm the Toni Storm of professional wrestling. She didn't need to be anybody else." Moné reflects on how both have changed. "I'm no longer the boss. I'm the CEO." Declares the greatest match of all time awaits at All in Texas. Toni notes how AEW let them both become who they really are. She calls out the core difference. "You want all the titles, I only need one." With her signature flair, she warns, "If you want to ride the money train into the Toni tunnel, you better hope it can go deep enough. Then seriously, you are one of the greatest of all time, but unfortunately for you, I happen to be timeless." Mercedes responds, "You may be timeless, but your time is about to be up. See you at All In." Storm returns a sentiment before they drop their mics. Moné extends her hand, and Storm pulls her in, with the handshake, and she sniffs up her body and neck and shit. Kisses Mercedes' hand. Mercedes tried to pull her into a moneymaker, but Toni counters into Storm Zero. Tries to get to Storm Zero, but Moné slips out and retreats up the ramp. Toni Storm poses with the Women's World Title in ring, and Mercedes yells from the ramp, closing the show. I wasn't expecting much out of this, but it was decent enough. I liked it. Toni carried this, I believe, but Mercedes did good enough. This is probably the best promo segment that I think she's had in the show so far. So at least she's showing improvement somewhat on the stick, but I'm still kind of confused. Is she a heel or not? What's going on here?
Well, this is like what we talked about before. She works to the people that she's working with, so she's capable of working better. She just has to have somebody that she works down, is what we talk about. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The segment was good.
Yeah, I just feel
mostly.
Like any great heel would pride themselves in being and getting heat and all that shit back in the day, right?
Yeah, she was a little heelish here, but not much. I mean, they kind of just play her up as like a tweener. Well, it's not great.
I don't know. They try to get the crowd to chant her and stuff, and I don't know. I know I said this the other day, but could you imagine how much better all these matches would be if there was actual fucking heat in them, man? And there's just none. That's kind of all I got on that one right there. And I think that's our Dynamite review. Let's talk about any highlights or anything like that stick out to you.
A fairly average episode of Dynamite. I mean, the shit that sticks out to me the most is the women's match, and just the recklessness and the foolishness. But hopefully all those girls are okay, because that shit looked pretty rough. And Yeah, I'm sure we'll know in another day or two, because there was no news that came out about their conditions today. Otherwise, we would have talked about it during the segment or right now. But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that was really it.
yeah. My thing, it's ironic everybody watches the show for the wrestling, but I thought the opening promo segment and the closing promo segment were probably the best things on the show. They were obviously the most produced. But yeah, it was a pretty average episode. I'd probably give it, like, especially considering it was after their pay-per-view, probably like a 5 out of 10, somewhere around those lines.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That's about what you go with.
Just average. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is average even a 5 out of 10? I think that's below average, but whatever. That's what we're giving it, right?
C minus for people that don't want to use numbers.
Well, I think we can use that time to go ahead and wrap up the Dynamite review, average episode, and we can go ahead and move on with a little bit of news here in the wrestling world this week. And you want to talk about this right here, Dave?
Yeah, man. This news came out today, a couple hours ago, probably like 4 hours ago now, so more than a couple. But man, I sighed pretty hard when I read this shit. SmackDown to remain 3 hours for now is being reported by Figure 4 Online via Wrestle Notes. WWE SmackDown will continue to, all these people reporting via, good lord. We're reporting via, someone's reporting via. SmackDown will continue to run as a 3-hour show on the USA Network and Netflix internationally for the foreseeable future. Fuck. The key points are the third hour of SmackDown is reportedly performing well, which has led to NBC Universal supporting maintaining the extended runtime. This is a shift from the original plans, which had SmackDown returning to a 2-hour format starting on May 30th of this month. So, man, I was really looking forward to that, but I guess not. And I saw a lot of comments from people in different message boards, comment sections, and things of that nature where this was reported, and seemed to be fairly universal that most people were looking forward to a 2-hour SmackDown. But the possibility of reverting to 2 hours is still being discussed internally, and the change may happen in the fall, but nothing's confirmed as of now. Triple H had stated back in January on the Pat McAfee show that Pat McAfee show, I don't know why I did that again, that the 3-hour format was temporary. And WWE returned SmackDown to USA in September of 2024 after 5 years on Fox as part of the $1.4 billion deal with NBC Universal. The deal includes 4 live Saturday night main event specials per year airing on NBC and Peacock. So that's why we keep seeing Saturday night main event recently. SmackDown's third hour initially believed to be temporary, but it's staying, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's the same shit that we already talked about. What do you think of all this, TJ? Did you know about this before right now, or are we breaking this news to you?
I read about it a little bit, it kind of sucks. I think 2 hours will be better, but USA wants definitely wants that ad money that comes in from that third hour, so they're not worried about the viewership dropping a little bit. They're worried about getting the viewership that it does get, to get that extra hour in for the ads and the eyes on those ads, and everybody's a winner because WWE, I guess, it's just more work for them, but they're getting the money, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they, from everything that I read, who knows, it's all reports, but they had an agreement to go back to 2, so it's probably going to cost them more money to get that third one at some point, whatever, if they got to extend or do some kind of new agreement. But I think it's overall bad news, and the pacing of a 2-hour wrestling show is always better, and I think it's generally proven, with Raw always being better than SmackDown every week, that sometimes less is more.
That's exactly it. I mean, look at how Raw is now. They're like 2.5 hours, or less most weeks, and it's a pretty sweet spot.
Well, speaking of a sweet spot here, we got the WWE Saturday Night Main Event. It delivers pretty good ratings. May 24th, 2025. According to WrestleNomics, the May 24th edition of WWE Saturday Night's Main Event averaged 1.969 thousand viewers, nearly 2 million. That's a lot for a wrestling show these days and scored a 0.54 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. This marks a 32% increase in total viewership and a 64% bump in the key demo, compared to the previous episode on January 25th. It was the most watched episode of Saturday Night's main event since its return in December 2024, though it has yet to break the 2 million viewer mark. That's actually pretty decent for today. NBC is that's free TV, right?
Yeah.
So, that probably helped too. But if they were doing this like every week, it seems to help when wrestling's on a weekly format. If this was like a weekly Saturday thing, I'm sure it would be building on that, especially if they put their main guys on it. But pretty good number for a random off Saturday like this that really wasn't anything that special. It was just kind of an average PLE. It was like Saturday Night Raw, like we were saying.
Yeah, essentially with less promos and more commercials.
But anyways, despite heavy competition from other sports, the show ranked number 2 in the average, number 2 in the overall 18 to 49 demo across cable and broadcast. It trailed only the NBA Conference Finals game, Thunder vs. Timberwolves, on ABC, which drew 5.26 million viewers and a 1.46 demo. Impressively, WWE...
That's a lot.
Yeah. Impressively, WWE's show outdrew both MLB on Fox and the NHL Eastern Conference Finals in total viewership and demo performance. Well, I got news for you. Nobody's watching hockey. I don't know about MLB these days, but hockey's... I think there's only a couple shows a year that get decent ratings for hockey.
Yeah.
But yeah, it had a lot of social media success too. The John Cena versus R-Truth had over 1 million views. Cody Rhodes had over 1 million. The full recap video had over 1 million. And Cena's backstage segment with Jey Uso had 900,000. So it's pretty decent. And that was and that's not now, right? That was just in a certain period of time that it had those.
Right. They're probably higher than that now.
Yeah, so that was in like a 24-hour period, correct?
Right. Correct.
Okay, so not bad. It had a steel cage match and 2 championship matches, and John Cena's first appearance on a Saturday Night main event since 2008. The episode's star power and storytelling clearly resonated across all platforms, and I'm sure they made a boatload of money. And WWE continues to build momentum with Saturday Night's main event, successful navigating sports competition while delivering strong numbers on both TV and digital platforms, highlighted by John Cena's return and high-profile matches. So, not too much to say there. Just pretty much more about what we've already known. They're just chugging along and monetizing and raking these fans for everything they can, and kind of building everything upwards. They're not on a downward trend anymore, and I feel like they were for the longest time when it come to ratings, and they finally bounced back some when the Bloodline stuff, and it's kind of just been steadily a little bit going up ever since.
Yeah,
it's
nice to see them putting on a better product.
Yeah, they were getting more views on Fox, especially with the Bloodline stuff when that was in its height. But like I said, if the show was on more regularly and had a big storyline like that, since it's on like broadcast television, it would be doing the same thing. But 2 million for a random Saturday, not bad.
Not at all, especially with all the competition that was out there, all the different playoffs for three different sports. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, and this next thing we got going on here, we haven't talked about this yet.
Nope. I actually sprung this on TJ. This was while I was doing the show prep. I had saw this news, so I was like, we'll add that in. And Jim Ross announces successful cancer surgery. AEW commentator and WWE Hall of Famer, as if I need to introduce him to you guys, Jim Ross shared a major health update on social media. He underwent a successful colon surgery on Wednesday to remove the cancer. Successful colon cancer surgery, my bad. In his own words, happy to say that today's cancer surgery was a success. Now to begin to rehabilitate. So this marks a positive turn in his ongoing battle with cancer, which he's been publicly open about. Fans and wrestling personalities have flooded social media with support and well wishes for JR, and us too. We love JR. He's one of we said this in the last video when we talked about him. He's one of the greatest all time. He's voice of our childhood and even into our adulthood. And you hate to see anybody doing bad, so I'm glad that his procedure went successfully. and hopefully he's on the mend quickly and his rehabilitation goes quick and smooth. What did you think about all this, TJ? Did you know about this, or is this new one for you?
I don't know. JR is one of the few people out there that if he killed somebody, I'd probably be finding ways to defend him, being like, I don't know, maybe they deserved it. Hopefully, hopefully everything goes pretty good for him. And I actually read this probably about 30 minutes before we did this. So I saw that we had it on here, and I figured I was going to mention it to you, and you beat me to it. So I figured you would. You're usually pretty quick on this stuff, but just well wishes to him, and I'm hoping him the best. And if he doesn't show up on AEW anymore, I wouldn't be upset. He probably doesn't need to be traveling anymore, and he should just focus on his health and living his best life he can, and spending that money while he's still alive, and just maybe do the traveling, but do it and go on some vacations and shit, and enjoy yourself, because life's too short. And I know that he enjoys doing the announcing stuff, and maybe you could do it for a couple pay-per-views a year, but just don't do it too much anymore.
Yeah, prior to the procedure, he talked about that he wanted to continue to do announcing on the limited basis like what he had been doing. So, we can look forward to most likely seeing him in a limited capacity doing announcing still moving forward. It's just, it's going to be a good, 3 to 6 months of recovery, and then, however long to get back to normal after that. So, maybe within 6 months to a year, we'll see him.
He's had a rough 3 to 4 years with a health problem. So
yeah, he had that skin cancer on the back of his leg that they had to cut out. He had a fall where he hit his head. He's had a rough go of it.
Yeah, I'm like I said, we're rooting for him, and we'll be glad to hear any good news coming from him. But I think we can take that, go ahead and take the opportunity to wrap this up. It was it was a fun little talk about Dynamite. I know we're always shitting on it, but there's good and bad, and just sometimes there's just more bad. And I'm hoping that they put out a better effort here soon to build towards their biggest pay-per-view of the year. And I know you feel the same way, Dave, and we really want to go into these things liking them, and I'm trying to keep away from other reviewers these days, and I'm not successful all the time, but I'm trying to stay away from just other people's opinions on these shows in general, just so it's just me, and I'm fresh, and I'm not being nobody's telling me what to think on any of this shit.
Right, we're just parroting somebody else's opinion. Plus with how much work that we do at our jobs, and then all of the work it takes to prep this and come up with ideas for shorts and stuff. We don't necessarily have a lot of time to be listening to other people's stuff. We're on here, and if we're not doing this, then we're on Discord figuring out what we're going to do next. So not a lot of free time anymore is what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure. But it's all good. I've been enjoying it, and
it is. Yeah.
Just mainly a sidetrack, but it was a fun episode. I enjoyed doing it with you, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Yep. See you guys next time. TJ, thanks as always. Yeah, we're excellent host to be hosting the show with. I couldn't do it without you.
Well, we actually didn't tease what's coming next, by the way, did we? It's a SmackDown, SmackDown and Collision. We'll get that to you Sunday. We'll be watching them, and anything else that might pop up, we'll get the news in there. And check out our social medias: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify at OverMark ENT. And we got these over maniacs listening, and we appreciate you guys, and we'll say goodbye again. Yeet. Take it easy, guys.
See you later.